All right, hello. What is up, everyone? It looks like we have lost the YouTube chat. Let me try to bring that back. Oh, on the wrong one. That's why we've lost the YouTube chat. There we go. Oh, we're back and we have the YouTube chat. Right. All right. What is up, Relic SE? Yes, we are in for some good game action. So let's do a quick intro. Just if anyone doesn't know, my name is Tim. I go by Foamyguy on GitHub and Discord. I do stream on Tuesday mornings, like Scott said, on the Adafruit channel here, working on stuff related to CircuitPython, which I'm sure you are all quite familiar with, being CircuitPython Day today. If you're not, or if you happen to catch this VOD and you don't know, you can learn more about CircuitPython at circuitpython.org. It's super cool. I recommend you look into it. Also, you can join us down there on the Discord, which is linked down below, adafru.it/discord. There is a development channel and a help with CircuitPython channel there, where you can talk about CircuitPython, get help with CircuitPython projects, help contribute to CircuitPython, hang out, learn about CircuitPython, all of that fun stuff. As always, thanks to Adafruit. Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They make CircuitPython possible by paying a team of folks to work on it, including Scott and Dan and myself, as well as some other folks. If you would like to help support them and CircuitPython, as well as the other open source stuff that they pay people to work on, there are Arduino drivers and other things that they pay people for. I know today is CircuitPython Day, but more broadly, open source software is certainly something I'm very fond of. So if you would like to help support them and all of the open source software that they support, including CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways to do it is purchase hardware from them, which if you choose to do it today and use the code, which is down here, CPDAY, you can get yourself 15% off on most items in the shop. So you will be helping support CircuitPython, other amazing open source software, and you will be getting a great deal on some amazingly fun hardware. I am diving right in today with a game jam, and we are looking at Pico Game, which is a new game framework, game development framework that is built for CircuitPython. There is a custom build of CircuitPython. There's a PR open right now, which has this included in it. So I have a build running from that. If anyone does want to try it out, you can play along at home if you're interested. I am working on a fruit jam today, so I will show that just in case we have anyone who doesn't know. All of them are fruit. Only one of them is fruit jam. There we go. So I have a fruit jam hooked up. I do not have the top-down camera, so I cannot show you physically the fruit jam, but what I have is the HDMI capture where we can see what the fruit jam is outputting. So I'm running on a fruit jam. I have the Pico Game build running on it, and then as you saw there, I have it hooked up so that I can capture the HDMI, show it here on the stream. I do also have a USB, what do they call this, SNES-like controller hooked up, so I can run this little rectangle around at this point, and this is about all that we have. There are actually some coins and stuff there, so there is a little bit more, but this is basically one of the examples that comes from Pico Game. David says, my Pico Pad first gen is disassembled as I wanted to upgrade it from a 2040 to a 2350. Oh, wow, that sounds like some serious surgery there for sure. But yeah, there are a handful of different devices that this Pico Game framework supports. There are some handheld ones, like I think the Pico Game, or is it the Pico Pad is, I think, one of the ones it was built mainly for, but there's also the Pico System, which I have. I played with it on that for a bit, and then Fruit Jam as well is what I've been playing with it on a lot lately. So the website for this, if anyone's interested, Pico Game makerclass.cz. You can check it out here. This is sort of like the main docs and the tutorials. It is over on GitHub as well, makerclass.cz, Pico Game, and shout out on Discord. Smitka is the person who developed this and published it. So Smitka, you can see part of the name there is what their name on Discord is. So huge thanks, hard report to them. This thing is definitely super cool, and that is what I'm going to play with today. And I am going to jump right in. So you can see here I do have the basic platformer example. And what I would like to try to make is a platformer with the twist being sort of like Portal. So I want to have it to where your character can shoot a portal and you could aim it. So like if we imagine there was a wall or something here that we needed to try to get to the other side of, you could shoot your portal sort of like up and over the wall, and then you could shoot your other portal over here, and you could run into one and it teleports you to the other. And that is like the core idea of the puzzle game Portal. So I want to bring that core idea into the 2D platformer world, where we're moving side to side across the world. We're moving maybe up and down as the camera's following us to try to work our way through some puzzles to figure out how to get to the goal, whatever the end zone is for that level. But we have a long way to go before we get there. So I think where I want to start is actually the portals themselves. So right now I have a rectangle I can run around. Let me restart this, and you will be able to see that there is actually a little bit more to it, but not much. So there are some coins. You can pick up the coins there, and there are actually some enemies. And one of the things that I did was on the enemies, I actually made it so that when you jump on them, they're like a trampoline. You get a bonus. You go higher when you jump and bounce off of an enemy's head. And you also do stomp them sort of like Mario Toad style. Okay, so that is what we have so far. The first thing I think I want to add are the portals themselves, the objects, the entities. And I am also testing out, which I will pull up briefly in the GitHub, I am testing out the skill. So I have not loaded this up before, so this is my first time using this bit of the project, but the Pico Game project comes along with an agent skill. So if you are developing that way, then there's sort of like a big head start of context that your agent can use to know a bunch of the basics of the framework, which is super cool. And then I will add one last thing, and then I will actually dive in. The view that we have here, is getting fed through an HDMI capture card. There's actually a duplicate output, which is getting fed back into a capture card on the same computer that is running the agent here. So the Claude Code is what I'm using. And that same computer is hooked up to a capture card, which can also see this same output. So the agent can make a change to the CircuitPython code, and then it can grab a screenshot of the output and judge like what happened, if it's correct or not. So we have that set up as a feedback loop. So I am going to start up a new one because that one was mostly testing. And I think where I want to start is just add two new entities, two new sprites to the scene, an orange one and a blue one. For now, I'll just take the same colors as Portal, although we may change that up eventually. I'll make an orange one and a blue one. One of them will be up here, one of them will be down here, and the idea is like if we get this working, we could run into this one and it will teleport us up to this one. Okay, so we are going to work on a platformer puzzle game that adds a mechanic like the portals in the game Portal to a 2D. I have no idea what that menu was. Apparently, if you press Shift 2, you get a menu in Claude Code. To a 2D platformer base. The starting point is loaded on the Fruit Jam. Let's say the connected Fruit Jam now. To start working on it, first, can you please add one blue entity or sprite and one orange entity to the scene? Let's say one of them should be under the platform with the coins that spawns near the player spawn, and the other should be up in the sky above the coins. So I just want to get 2 sprites, one here, one up here. And then once we have those, we can hook up when the player intersects with one of them, teleport, change the location of the player to the other one. And then the player should theoretically just keep its momentum. We'll have to see if we need to do anything specific for the momentum. Let me exit out of this. So this was TO. That would have been consuming the serial, which would have meant if the agent wanted to run code and look at the output, it would not have been able to. All right, looks like we have an orange one. So it'll put a... Oh, actually, the blue one is there as well, but it's just very difficult to see on the background. I don't even know if that is coming through. I actually didn't even notice it at first. Both are there, blue, blue, plain colored. Please make the blue one a darker blue. We could go in and change this as well. So I do also have this same... no, actually, I do not have the same code open, actually. I have the repo where this work is taking place in. So in the repo where the agent's running, it does have a copy of Picogame, which has the skill inside of it, and it has a copy of the libs as well, which it can copy onto the device and read the code for if it needs. Okay, there we go. Blue is much darker now. Okay, so now let me actually move the blue one down to where it is on the ground. Thanks. That is much better. Please move the blue one down to on the ground for now. And then, like I said, we'll do teleport first on collide. So now when, let's see. We'll let it finish it. Oh, it's doing the capture, so it's double checking to make sure it got it on the ground correctly. Very good. Next, please add collision handler so that when the player touches either portal, I forget if it calls it location or position. May just be XY on the sprites anyway. We'll use position. Touches either portal. Let's see. They touch either portal. Let's just say they get teleported to the position of the other portal. Have it oh yeah, there you go. Have it listen to the microphone. I have thought a little bit about that. I played around a little bit with microphone and audio output. I have not done a full-on like loop of let me talk to the agent and let it talk back to me. That would be an interesting way to do it. But for now, I stick to typing, and I still end up doing a lot of copy pasting, actually. The way that I do it, so I don't know if I've gone too deep into how it's all set up, but the way that I have it set up here is I'm actually... this terminal is SSH'd into a Raspberry Pi, which I have sitting on another desk over here by me. And that Raspberry Pi is kind of like where the agent runs inside of. It's got no access to Git tokens or anything, so it can't push to GitHub, and it can't delete stuff or do anything crazy. It does have network access, so it can get to the internet. It can look stuff up, but it runs under a... what you call it, like a restricted user. I made a new Linux user for it, which does not have sudo. It has its own Python virtual environment, so it can pip install into there, but it can't do apt install. It can't do anything sudo. It can't go just buck wild and do whatever it wants. It lives inside of its little restricted user, and occasionally it runs into something that it wants to use sudo for, and it fails, and it starts trying to work around it, and I remind it to just ask if it needs to do something that it can't do. But your voice modifier microphone you demonstrated, when you push the button to speak, it goes speech to text, and you type on the keyboard for you. I actually did think about hooking the as you mentioned, I did actually think about hooking that up as a way to talk to it. The little CB radio I thought would be kind of a fun form factor. to be able to talk to it. Okay, so collision handler added. How it works? Starting point. Code starting point. Oh, it's editing. Oh no, it's editing the starting point. We were supposed to keep that as the starting point. I think it took another backup actually though. Let me check real fast. I don't know where it put it though. The dot back. That's all right. Board's running the new code. Okay, cool. There we go. Enough. So, and then we should be able to teleport back too. So we can come hit this one and we pop out of this one. Hit that one and we pop out of that one. And I did notice it actually, it looks like it helped us out with debouncing a little bit. Because if we run into this one and we teleport to this one, it's not like theoretically we should, if it had done what I had asked for instead of what was the more competent, correct thing to do, it very well could have been like, whoop, wrong one. Let me see one more thing here. There we go. It very well could have been such that this would just be instantly teleporting us back, right? You could get the infinite loop going, which you can in Portal as well. But here it's given us this debouncing to where we actually have to exit the blue portal collision before it will re-trigger, which is a nice touch. Okay, very cool. Basics down. Portal links pair each sprite with the other one's exit coordinates, so the link is declared once instead of two mirrored branches. In portal latches while you're still standing. There you go. That's the debouncing we were talking about right there. Velocity is deliberately not reset. Indeed, speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out. I think that's one of the core tenets. Falling into blue shoots you out of the orange. Momentum and feel. Very good. Yes, and the camera should be following. Very good. No trace back. Can't press the buttons. Yeah. Okay. I am going to take. Okay. Another backup of that and just put it higher up so that it won't override it anymore. There is a backup somewhere. I probably put it in the temp directory for the previous session, which is a weird space for it to put stuff, but it does like to do that sometimes, I've noticed. Okay. Make the portals. So that's kind of what we want to do, but I want to be a little bit more specific than that. So yeah, the next thing I want to add is the ability. Right now, the two portals obviously are just hard-coded. What I want is the player to be able to shoot the portals, essentially. So how do we want to do that? So in the 3D game, you are playing first person, so you point at what you want to aim at, and the portal sort of shoots out like a laser in a straight line. We are not first person here. We are obviously side, sort of profile view platformer. I think what I want is I think I want like a cursor that floats outside the player, and you control it with the shoulder buttons up here. And then whatever angle that cursor is at when you press the shoot your portal button, that's the angle it's going to fly in, and it's going to fly until it hits something that it can make a portal on. So like a wall, basically. Right now we have this one just floating. Is not how they would be normally once they come out of the portal gun. Although maybe we could toy with that later as well. Okay. So next, let's start working on a way for the player to place the portals. To start, make a crosshair that floats outside the player and moves in a circle around them when they press the L or R shoulder buttons on the controller. Yeah, just make the crosshair For now, we'll hook it up later. So I'm imagining, you know, it starts in the sort of upper hemisphere or whatever. You get a crosshair there, and then you'll press, you know, left, and it will rotate this way. You'll press shoulder button right, and it will rotate this way. Color mirrored from me, so that might have been backwards from... Yeah, anyway, I think you get the idea. And then we will eventually need to figure out the actual shooting and the collision and stuff. Okay, very good. Yeah, so now we have this, and I can move it with these two buttons. Very good. Exactly what I want, right like that. I think what we'll do is probably hide it after a few seconds, if that's possible. So, like, let's say, or let it finish. It's going to take screenshots, looks like, maybe. Or it's... continuing to update the one on the local one as well. There we go. It is going to get the screenshot. Crosshairs in. Rendering's proper. Yeah. Very good. Let's have it hide after, like, a couple... Oh, it looks better, actually. It redid the... I didn't actually catch when it reloaded for that, but it redid... Didn't it? I think the graphics were a little bit different a second ago. Let's have it hide automatically after, like, I don't know, maybe 2 seconds after the last time you move it. Can you make the crosshair hide 2 seconds after the user, like, with hide after 2 seconds of idle after being moved? And reappear anytime they move it again. So I think that should be pretty easy. And that way you don't just always have that thing popping up around you, just floating over your head like a Sims thing. Yeah, this is very cool, by the way. The skill is working out very good. Like I said, this is my first time messing with the skill for Pico Game, so yeah, I'm quite impressed that it's got all this. So there we go. So yeah, so now it goes away, and if I press a button again, it comes back. Very good. Okay. So one thing is that in the actual Portal game, the portals, like I was starting to say earlier, like this orange one is just kind of floating in midair, which is not a very natural state for how it would be in the game. Maybe in one of the first 2 levels before you can really shoot them. But more typically, you shoot your portal and it sort of travels out from where you are until it runs into something that it can, like, latch onto, I'll say. I don't know if there's a technical term in the game. But there's certain surfaces that it's allowed to stick on, and there's certain surfaces that it's not allowed to stick on. And so it goes in a straight line until it hits a surface it's allowed to stick on, or if it hits one that it's not, then it just dissipates. All right, earlier got a mid-aim and visible, later aim shows it gone. Yeah, I think it took screenshots while I was already playing it, and so it saw it here and disappear, basically. Okay, very good. I think in order to test that part of it, I want to build like a wall right here that goes... Or, you know what I want to do, actually? I want to build a wall on this side. A wall on this side of the platform. And then a ceiling. So the idea will be over, you'll be able to move over here. You'll be able to aim sort of up here over the wall, up to the ceiling, shoot your portal up there, shoot your other portal down here, and then get up and over that wall. So that'll be sort of the first basic, like, test this whole idea out puzzle. So let's start with, can you add a ceiling to this level? Actually, let's say add a ceiling to this level that is just below the black HUD text. Ceiling should be made from the same tile as floor and walls, platforms, and all the stuff. Hopefully, I think it will know what that means. Oh, I forgot that is that just below. It'll probably figure it out. I don't want it too high up there, but I also don't want it too low because you need to be able to get over the wall and still hit the ceiling, basically. Okay, very good. Now we have a ceiling there. Now I want a wall that goes like, it covers like 3/4 of the way up from the ground to the ceiling, to the left of the first platform. It could even be like all the way here. It doesn't have to be super close to the player. It can be over here. That's fine as well. Okay. Next, what did it say? Ceiling added, the solid row. Oh, I think, is it telling us about the collision is a little bit weird? Is that one thing I did beyond the literal ask, which you should know about, is I also made it... Oh, okay, it didn't actually have... it sounds like it maybe only had downward collision stopping, so... which makes sense, actually, right? Because we were able to jump through this earlier. Oh, we can still jump through this. Interesting. I don't have an easy way to get up there and test whether we can jump through that. We would need the blue portal somewhere where I could jump into it, and then we could test the collision from the bottom. Right. Okay, so it kept platforms working that way. Platforms are deliberately one way. You could jump through them, which is a choice. We could actually, we don't necessarily have to do it that way. We could have it be collision on the top as well, or on the bottom, on the top of your head, bottom of the platform. So roof is built purely from tiles, wouldn't have worked, but then roof is one way. Okay, very good. Next, please add a wall at the left of the first platform near the player spawn that goes from the floor 3/4 of the way up to the ceiling gap near the top. So what I'm imagining is like right here, we get a wall. And 3/4 of the way to the ceiling should be tall enough that we cannot simply just jump over it. Ooh. Okay, it misinterpreted my gap, although that's an interesting thing as well. Solid from the ground. Yeah, so I actually, when I said gap, I meant the gap here, but I probably shouldn't have even bothered said gap. I should have just stuck with 3/4. Please fill that lower gap and leave just the top 1/4 open. And that should be tall enough. I don't know how fast it's going to move, but yeah, so I totally cannot jump up to there. This is the top of my jump, which is probably why it put the gap there. There we go. Okay, so I cannot jump up and over that. So we have to be thinking with portals if we want to get up there. And so what we would do is we would come back here. If you jump, it would be even easier, but we would come back here. We would shoot our portal up this way so that it hopefully lands about here, and then we would shoot our other one and walk into it. Okay. About 70K, so I'll just keep rolling in this one. 9, unbroken column to the floor, row 5, leaving 2 to 4 above. Okay. Next. Next, please work on the player being able to shoot portals. So there should be no portals spawned by default at the beginning. We'll use what buttons are hooked up currently. So the B button jumps. So A and X currently don't do anything. Should I do A and X or should I do X and Y? X and Y, I think, feel better together than A and X. So we'll use the X and Y buttons on the controller to shoot orange and blue portals respectively. When the player presses the associated button, should shoot the portal in a straight line from the player in the direction of the crosshair, and it should keep going until it's a platform. So eventually we can expand the types of tiles as well. Right now I kind of just have one sort of floor, wall, platform, ceiling that is one thing. But eventually we could get to a world where we have different kinds as well, which is something that's in the Portal game as well. There's kind of like regular ground, and then there's ground that's ineligible for the portals, and walls that are ineligible, stuff like that as well. And then one thing I think we'll do, let me pull this up as well. One thing that I think we will do is there's a lot of cool stuff on this page. So this is the making it fun page in Pico Game Docs, which is, this is about like embellishments with game design that you can use to just make your game feel better to the player, right? Little extra bits that you can add that don't necessarily affect the game. It's not changing how the player moves or the mechanics of the game, but just little bits that add sort of an embellishment. And I think what we'll do maybe is a little bit of this. This might be a bit much. I don't think we want all of this. I don't know, forget how we control, but I think that'll be the idea. Particle burst. I'm guessing somewhere one of these is probably like roughly how many particles we get. And what we'll do is when it hits the wall, it will pop out the particles. Rewriting the portal block shootable portals. All right, board boots clean, no portals. Can't press X and Y. Oh, and it's gonna go so it can't press the buttons, so it's gonna go do a bunch of extra math to see if it thinks it would work. But we can press the buttons because we have hands. So let's do this. It's out of the way. X. Boom. Okay, very good. We do want it further over though, so that's a little better. There we go. And then Y, so we do this. A little far up there, but that's fine. There we go. Nice. And we have done it. Oh, popped back. Oh, and we fell through the floor. Let me put blue somewhere else. Let's see. What if I aim down and then give it this number? Let me aim further down. Yeah, very good. Now we can get over our trick wall there. All right, now we just need the whole rest of the game. We're pretty much done. Okay. Let us do what I was saying there. Let's put a little bit of particles. Press it, so I simulated it. Can you hook it up to, say, launch particle? Emit, it says, is the verb, right? Emit particles from the location that the portal lands when it hits, it impacts. And the particles should be color coordinated with the portal. Yeah, so this is very cool. Like I said, the skill being able to work through a game prototype like this is very, very cool. I think I could, you could get the structure of your game built here. It's obviously not going to give you like a finished product game that is completely fun to play all the way. Like for this style of game, right? This style of game, a lot of the fun and the interest of this game comes from the puzzles, the levels. And so somebody probably would still have to do that. It could probably design some that are not like awful. It could probably design some fun ones. But I do think you probably still would need like a human touch to make levels that are super fun. But this could get you like to the point where you have a functional, get you to the point where you have a functional, platform to build on. So we hit an exception, and my instinct was to like click and drag this to be able to copy the code, but obviously we can't copy it out of the display. So what we're gonna do is just go restart that. And get isn't the programming part of the fun? Yes, definitely. I do believe programming is part of the fun, but part of the fun with programming for me has always been, and I suspect will always be, picking through other code. So like for lots of my career, this other code, I'm like super washed out because of the brightness of my display. That's all right. For part of my career, quote unquote, other code would have came from Stack Overflow, would have came from Google, would have came from 4 pages deep in some specific form that's related to some specific framework or whatever thing I'm working on. That I have been copying and pasting code together for a long time before the agents came about. The agent to me is kind of like another way to do that, and I always have really loved playing with these chunks of code at a higher level than diving in the details, with the one exception for me personally being the thing that I geek out on diving into the details for is like weird eccentric crypto algorithms, like old classical historical crypto algorithms. Those are the kinds of things where I have the most fun diving into the actual bits and bytes and in the code, really tracing the logic flow. That's like just the thing that my brain most likes. I do like solving lots of other problems as well, even nitty-gritty details and stuff, but I will say like higher level is also super fun for my brain. And the thing is, like this, like I said, this will not get me to a playable fun game. Let me do this here real quick. I tried this version, but it gives this error when the portal impacts. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I do think it's a fine line. There is an allure to just be like, get the bot to make the whole thing for you one shot, or to have it work on something for you overnight, or while you're not paying attention or whatever. This is not something I have as much of an interest in really at all. But this style here where I'm like, do this next thing, and then it does it, and then I judge it and I say, change it, do it differently, or nope, it's good, let's do the next thing, where we're working on this thing and this thing and this thing. This I still find like it tickles the same bits of my brain that make programming fun for me, that have made programming fun for me for as long as I have been programming, basically. Particle emit, it was negative. Okay. And because the code that we're emitting here is Python, it's like super easy and readable and understandable. So one of the things which I think is actually perhaps underrated a little bit, that the LLMs can do, is after they write code, you can ask it to explain you the code, and it will hallucinate sometimes. So you do have to be careful just trusting whatever came out of it. But Google and Stack Overflow to a lesser extent. Stack Overflow, sometimes the answers would explain the code to you if you found a good answer and you got lucky on the problem that you're solving. The agent can write code for you and then explain to you how the code works. Like I said, it can hallucinate, so you need to make sure you're reviewing, you need to make sure you're going and finding sources and stuff. But one of the things I really like about it is it can illustrate concepts to me. So if I have it write a chunk of code and I don't understand how that code works, I can say, please write a one-page HTML doc that is like an illustrated, like a textbook page that explains this chunk of code and how it works, gives visuals, animations and stuff, so you can see like a ring buffer. It will sort of animate through it and show you how this stuff is working. Being able to explain afterwards the code, I think, is really helpful as well, because there's lots of code that it can write that I would not necessarily be able to just get out of my head. And then I can go back and learn from it after the fact as well for when I do dive into the code. I wonder what it is for someone that never wrote code to use AI to build a game, not capable of suggesting implementation or technical direction. Yeah, I imagine it would be a lot more difficult, honestly. I will say, like, I had what I considered a fun opportunity to sort of backseat watch my wife build something with LLM. It wasn't even LLM agent like this. It was straight up just copy pasting back and forth with the web one. This was, I don't know, 6 months ago or something, a little while back. And she has taken programming classes. She's not brand new, never programmed before, ever, but she is not a programmer day in and day out. It was not a game, though. It was a tool that was like specific to her that she wanted to use. So the bar was very much like, make this thing be exactly how I want it to be, because I'm the only user of it. And that kind of stuff, I think it's actually pretty good at, even if you're not... Oops, I keep hitting the same button. Even if you're not a developer before. So one thing that's a bit awkward is this goes very far into the wall, and then it drops you into the wall. Yeah, to your point, though, I do think if you had no programming knowledge whatsoever, it is going to be easy to wind up in a place, if your game is at all large or unique and new, it's going to be easy to wind up in a place where it's broken in a way, or it's not behaving in a way that you want it to, that it's hard to get the LLM to do what you want, I imagine. If you have a bunch of a back history of coding, you can be a lot more specific in what you tell the agent to do, which I think increases the chances that it will do the thing that you actually want, for sure. So far, I haven't been able to make the whole game interesting without manual intervention, but maybe I was too impatient and constantly chatting about what I wanted to change. It was easier just to do it manually. I think anyone can handle a simple game or a port based on some existing games. That I would agree with. Yeah, simple games, game like prototype, proof of concept, build the first part of the first level, like what I've done here. Like we sort of proved out the proof of concept of this game. This kind of thing it can do, or porting, it's really good at. If it's porting, games or libraries or anything else, really. Anything where you have code that does what you want already and it's just in a different language or in a different format or for a different piece of hardware or whatever that's similar. Like if you have something that's close to what you want and you need to convert it, agents are very good at that. So you could start with an existing game, either one that you can point it to, like a web version of a game, or one that you can tell it about that's ubiquitous enough that it will know about. When you shoot a portal at a wall, it's wow. I just saw kind of a crazy lightning, I think. So if I randomly disappear, probably the power went out. That was not a lightning though, because I hear thunder. But it is getting darker and stormier. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll make it here. Oh, there it goes. There was thunder. So that was quite a ways away, but it was still quite bright. When you shoot a portal at a wall, it gets stuck inside the wall, which then makes it so that if you come back out of that portal, you clip into the wall and fall out of the bottom of the level. The screen currently so this is where the screen feedback is super cool, because I can just say the screen currently shows the orange portal flipped into the wall. You try to fix it so that the portal will stop flush with the wall. Yeah, really good questions though, and I do still enjoy both kinds of things. I enjoy making programs this way, typing with this thing, certain kinds of programs, and I do enjoy certain programs face deep in code. And I will still go through this code as well, because at some point here I will want to change this over to use, I mean, all sorts of things differently. For one offhand, I'll use one of the level editors. So there's a web editor, web level editor for Pico Game. There's also new support for Tiled as well, which is a level editor that you can download. So that's one of the things I'll swap out, and then making the levels would be done a lot more by hand. But also there's bits and pieces of the code that I will definitely dive into and tweak here and there in the simulator before flashing. I wish it would flash first. Maybe I could tell it to, I suppose. I also think one of the really nice things about the way that I have this set up with regards to working with the agent is, because I have this open in the IDE here as well, the IDE logs every single change set to the file. So we can go back through history, or I could go back like right after a change is made, and I can view the diff of the change like this, which I know Scott has a tool that's similar to this as well. I think he uses Sublime Merge or something like that to be able to get these views of the changes, which this is a lot of how I end up working back and forth with the agent. Is it will make changes, and then I will come in here and look at the specific changes it did. Yeah, I agree. Tiled is really cool. Great, let's see here. Boom. Oop, we were all the way up. There we go. Very good. All right, let me see if we do actually clip through the top. So if I... Oh, nope, I want blue up there, and I want orange over here, but I want it high enough I can jump. Nice, okay, we do stop at the top, and we can, look at that, we can totally fall into the other portal. We're not picking up speed, which is one thing that did happen in Portal. I think it was applying gravity, which this I don't think is maybe a little bit, because we do crest at the top of the jump there. It does have gravity. But there would be terminal velocity with gravity, I suppose. Although I don't know if it goes that far. Oh, this is for the particles anyway, though. This is a different thing. Okay. Yeah, currently we have no gravity on the player. I mean, not it's. I shouldn't say no gravity. There definitely is some gravity because there's some there, like the way that it crests at the top. Like it does slow down and then speed up, but I don't know that it's accelerating using the formula of gravity, x squared, whatever. I don't meters per squared second. I don't know the formula off the top of my exact head. Definitely a limit to the fall screed. I think the portal has this too. Yeah, yeah. There you go. There we go. Gravity 9.8 meters per squared per second squared, or per second, and it's because it's squared, it speeds up over time. But you will eventually reach in the real world, in the physical world, you will eventually reach terminal velocity where you cannot go any faster because of the shape of the thing. All right, let's not worry too much about that. Yeah, got about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna try to keep it to an hour. Obviously, not gonna make the entire. Okay, that was one thing I wondered, is can I shoot through the other portal? Not gonna make it through an entire game in an hour, but I'm actually really happy with where we have made it. Oh, to be able to get the kind of proof of concept that we have here. And I think, what do we do next? Oh, you know what? Oh, those go to blue? Maybe they fade to black, I guess, is what they're doing. I think they might be fading to black or fading to dark. I was going to say the orange particles start orange but then turn blue. I think they're actually turning black, though, or just generically dark. And the blue ones, I was going to say, don't do that. But I think what's actually happening is the blue ones are just going blue to black or dark. And the orange ones are going orange to dark, which is a much bigger change, which makes it easier to tell. Would the enemy go via the portal? That is a good question. I assume it does not currently. We could probably make it, though. Oops. Oops. Okay, not currently, but we can definitely make them. Can you make it so that enemies also get teleported by the portals? Yeah, good call, actually. I forgot about that. So Portal, it has the little sentry bots, right? The little three-legged, I don't know, there's probably a name for those things, and I don't know what it is, but the little, like, oval sentry bots. Do they walk around? I want to say they're stationary, other than the fact that you can, like, throw them around, and you can throw stuff into them. Like, they're movable objects within the game, but I don't believe they just walk on their own. Maybe there's some that walk like a predefined path or something. Or maybe there's some that are on a platform that floats back and forth. It's actually been quite a while since I played Portal. Give it another run through. I don't think any to the best that I can remember, none of them walk. Sometimes they fall out of the ceiling, like a chute in the ceiling, and then based on what's on the floor below them, they like fall slightly left or slightly right. That's sort of like locomotion. I don't recall them walking at any point. Sort of tripoding. Enemies now ride the portals. Oh. Nice. Uh-oh. Oh. We could be, we're able to get up here now as well. One of the things I added was extra trampoline when you bounce off the enemies. That was like one of the changes, one of the few, might even be the only change I made to the, well, I removed one enemy. But that's like the main change I made to this before the stream. That was like the only thing different from the, whoops. Ooh, they're both in the same spot. Was how you jump higher off of the enemies like that. But now we have a second way to get up there because we can portal up there and then portal down here and get up to this tall platform. Because it's too tall for a single jump. So there's the single jump height right there. We can't make it. So you can trampoline off the enemy to get up there, or you can now use portals to get up there as well. If we can get past the flag. I don't remember if it's when you touch the flag. I'm gonna get on that side. Okay, we are gonna wrap it up here very quickly. So definitely thanks for hanging out today. I hope everyone had a great CircuitPython day. I know that I did. Oops, I just wrecked it by shooting the. I always want to press Y. Y is like my default position. Oh. I think I just killed myself somehow, or somehow ended up back at the beginning. Not exactly sure what I did. Anyway. The style of this reminds me of old Flash action script so far. Yeah, totally. And so one of the cool things about this is obviously just super basic rectangles and pixels and stuff. It should be fairly easy, as I understand it, to swap in real graphics as well too. So like we can go and replace this tile with an actual brick tile from like a Kenny's Game Assets or some something we download from, what is it, itch.io. Or if we were a talented artist, we could make one. Personally, not very talented. This is about, I could get a little fancier than this, but not much. But I do have, I have some game assets that I can use that I paid for that are pretty cool. Let's see. For all people all the time, yeah, JP makes a good point. Back to the question about, basically this was on agents and isn't programming part of the fun. So JP says, for all people all the time, as in like, is programming part of the fun for all people all the time? And the answer being, I don't think so. I think it's good to allow for all kinds of people, including those who might see creating the game as the goal more than the programming along the way. Yeah, and I totally agree. I think it's like one possible way that is a means to get to where you are going. I will say, like, I do not think that as a thing that exists, that they are without problem. I think there's lots of problematic aspects to them. They can output text that is problematic in various ways. You know, with programs, they can make mistakes. They can add vulnerabilities. The models can exploit vulnerabilities, which is kind of a tricky situation that we have got ourselves into. Yeah, I will say there are lots of pitfalls with this technology as well, but as a means to being able to get a program that does what you want, especially if you're a person who does not derive as much fun from bearing your face into the nitty-gritty bits of the code, it is an amazing tool for what it is, for sure. Power usage and all kinds of things. There are definitely lots of things that are problematic about them, including some of their outputs, including some of the ways they're run, including some of the companies behind them. But yeah, as a tool that can get someone there, especially folks where programming is not the thing they want to be doing, right? They want to be making the thing, whatever the thing is. Like for me, I want to be programming because it's just like a thing that I find super fun to do, but some people are going to have a lot more fun with other parts of it, making the art or designing the game or making the levels or doing different parts. And this is giving them the ability to get to that part that they do find most interesting, which I think is a very cool aspect of it, for sure. All right, I think I will wrap it up here. So obviously we got a pretty good start of this. We have our portals working. We have our portal shooter here working to where I can place the portals. And this is a pretty good start, pretty decent little start to the game, I think. We could leave it running. Oh, no, we can't because we... Interesting. I don't know why we don't take the blue portal there. Huh. I guess it's maybe there's a timeout. Interesting. That way we can take it. Anyway. Yeah, I will leave it there for now. I will be back on Tuesday morning for the normal stream that I do over, not over on the Adafruit channel, here on the Adafruit channel, where you are seeing me right now. So Tuesday morning, that is at 10 a.m. Central Time, which is different than the time zone most of the Adafruit streams are built in. So take note of that. Central Time happens to be my time, so that is usually what I remember to say my stream in. 10 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday, I'll be here. And then I think what I'll do is I will do a couple more streams over the next few weeks on my channel, working on this game. So I usually stream on my channel Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. I will not stream tomorrow just because I'm streaming this evening and I don't want to do back-to-back evening and morning. But what I will do is over the next couple of weeks, I will pop up on my stream a couple of times to work further on this game. So if anyone's interested in the game itself and the evolution of it, how it ends up, you can join me over on my channel as that happens over the next couple of weeks. For anyone else, thank you for hanging out. I totally appreciate anyone who watched along. I hope you all, like I said earlier, I hope you all enjoyed your CircuitPython day. And then huge thanks, of course, to Smika for the Pico game platform. This is very cool. I am super excited to play with it quite a bit more. Not only fleshing this game out, but I have a couple other ideas that I want to kick around, try some proof of concepts for, and then I have a game that I started making with Display.io, which I will eventually probably port over to this framework as well in the long run. But yes, very cool stuff. Thank you for publishing it. Thank you for all the work you've done on it, for sharing it with us and all that stuff. It's very cool to play with. And that's it. So long, farewell. Signing off for now. Capping off the CircuitPython day. Again, hope everyone enjoyed it, and we will be back at it with the streams next week. I will leave you with the last reminder for the CP Day code, which is down there. You do have a couple hours remaining, maybe 4 or 5 hours or so. Somewhere in that ballpark. Don't quote me on the exact minute there. But if you want to get your orders in for 15% off on most of the items in the store, you can do that with CP Day. You should do it sooner rather than later because it will evaporate sometime later on tonight. So long. Thanks, everyone. I will see you all next time.